The lights are on, the curtain's up. This is Steps to the Stage.
Welcome, everyone, to Steps to the Stage. My name is Kirk Lane. I am one of your producers, and I'm here with my amazing team. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Colin Pinedo.
Hi, my name is Drew Rice.
So today what we thought we were going to do is we had an amazing event last night for our local theater, which Steps to the Stage really focuses on. We do focus on community theater in schools and beyond, and we're working on expanding that. But obviously the 7th Street Theater and the Chino Children's Community Theater and the Chino Community Theater have been our main focus for these last couple of years. Since we started this podcast as a project, those many moons ago. Here we are. We are 20 episodes deep. We have a fairly decent following as far as our episodes and the number of episodes that get downloaded each week or each time that we put one out. So we are very thankful for that, and I'm going to use that opportunity as a selfless plug to make sure if you're listening to us, it's really, really, really important and helpful if you subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, whether it's, off of Apple Podcasts, any number of podcast platforms are out there, or just off your web browser. But whatever platform you use, if you could subscribe, and then likes are also very helpful. So essentially, there's star ratings. Different platforms have different things, but give us your major ratings on all of that. That's very helpful. And reviews are also very helpful, whether you write them in the podcast platform, on our Facebook page, or any one of our other social media sites, including Instagram, including YouTube. We also have a website. We do have a Twitter and or X, whatever side you decided to land on. We're not terribly active there, but we do have all the socials, and we do appreciate you following us, and we do appreciate you rating, liking, and subscribing. And we do especially appreciate if you share this with other people in our community, because we obviously want to get as much information out there as possible so that we can grow this audience. But now back to our regular scheduled program. Last night was our CCCT Bernie Awards. And I honestly don't know, maybe you guys know, but how many years have we been doing this now? It feels like at least 4 or 5,
Yeah,
right?
I would say 4 or 5 because it was like right before,
I think it
like
was
the
right
year
before
before COVID.
COVID
Yeah,
and
Yeah, because
pandemic,
actually,
and we did
yeah,
a few of them, and
like
then we
20,
had a
like
year or
2018,
two.
2019. Yeah,
Yeah, and then we had a year or two off.
yeah,
yeah.
from
But so the Bernie Awards are
Mm-hmm,
held, we'll call it annually. At least
mm-hmm.
moving forward, they're definitely going to be annually. I know they
Uh-huh.
have been
We
largely
we'd like
annual.
them to be annual.
Yes, yeah, we would like not to have
The
major,
intent.
large world events that interrupt
Mm-hmm.
things like keeping us off the stage, which makes it very difficult to award people for things that aren't actually happening. So enough is said about that. The great news is it's been years since we've been back. We had another amazing Bernie Awards last night. And just for historical context, the Bernie Awards were started, as we mentioned. Well, hopefully, maybe by the end of the episode, or maybe someone can chime in on comments on one of these podcasts. We'll find out exactly how many years. But the Bernies were named after Bernie Wolfswinkel, who was part of our theater many, many moons ago, and has become the namesake for these awards. And essentially, what it is each production that we put on within the theater, the directors and cast um, essentially vote and make a decision on who will be awarded. Some of the various categories include Spirit of the Ensemble, Outstanding Performance, Leading the Way, Outstanding Technician. Some really great categories within each production that allow us the opportunity to recognize all of these amazing actors and crew, and just really give them a night to get dressed up, meet with all their theater friends, take some nice pictures, have an amazing evening. That we had last night, which included the Bernie Awards. It also included our community awards, and it also included our season reveal. So we thought it would be a great idea for us to get together as a Steps to the Stage podcast group and report out essentially for those that were there and those that weren't there so that they can find out more about this amazing evening. So, as always, I've been talking a lot. I'm going to just jump it over to you guys, and I'll start off with you, Joey. What was your thoughts and impressions on last night? You've been to most of these awards and you've received many of these awards. So, tell me what your thoughts and impressions were about last night.
Yeah, so it was just really nice being there again. I know last time I was there was like just last year, but it feels like it's been forever. I don't know. Uh,
It does feel
uh,
like a long time, doesn't it? You
yeah,
do.
yeah, it does. Cause like you do so many shows in between. It feels like it, it feels like a couple of years pass in between each
We've
verse.
had a couple of major events though in the last year. I think we might have even been talking about turning a certain age,
Yeah,
graduating,
yeah,
starting
yeah.
college.
I just turned
So
18. I'm going to Mount San Antonio College now, and that already feels like entire school year all in just one semester.
yep.
Uh, yeah, yeah. So going to Burning Award and seeing everyone again from a time long ago in Chino Community Theater. It was just nice. Like a little family reunion.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? It is a family reunion,
Mm-hmm.
especially with a lot of the current people, but a lot of the people that come back that have been a part of the theater for so long. Yeah, I agree with you, Joey, especially on the statement that it just seems like almost decades ago we had our last one. But Colin, what was your thoughts?
Uh, just to confirm, it was 2018 that the Bernie started. I
2018.
checked it. Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
thank
yes.
you. Our fact checker is our
Yes,
a host, of
sure.
course.
Yeah,
But I mean, yeah, Joey, if it feels like decades for you, then it's been centuries for me. But yeah, it's always nice to see sort of what we do with the Bernies and the reveal. It's always nice. Again, yeah, a nice little like yeah, it feels almost like yeah, like Christmas time. Like the family event of the year of us all coming back together and sort of celebrating what we've done this year and sort of anticipating what to come next. And so it's always very fun.
Well,
yeah.
especially with those productions that happened a year ago or almost a year ago, you guys, and we've talked about this on other episodes, and I equated it to is I spent most of my childhood, teenage years, early adulthood involved in sports, and with that, each season is this
Hmm.
major event, and especially if you have a very successful season, like you remember that team, you remember the
Hmm.
coaches, you remember everyone that was affiliated with that. And then when I was able as an adult to be in a production, I feel the same way. Like I'm still so close with some of my castmates from the shows that I've been in. And whenever you run into them, it gives you like, it really, my heart just flutters, and it flies me back to that amazing time that I had in those productions. And I have to imagine that, when everyone shows up and they get to see some of their castmates, they probably haven't seen some of them since they last performed, if they've not been in anything since then, or together with one of those castmates. So I agree with you. It is a total reunion, and it just brings back such memories. What I really love too, the camaraderie that develops amongst casts, and we felt it, or at least I felt it last night. In that, when people are recognized or a specific production is talked about, you just feel the energy in the room, change from a certain group, and they're typically all together. So I could hear like, oh, back left corner, there's the Puffs people, or here's Lightning Thief, and so it was great. There's the Putnam people, and so I really enjoyed that you could definitely sense that camaraderie that develops. But hey, that segues into just such an amazing capability that theater does, and especially our theater. And we're a little biased. We think our theater has some pretty incredible magic. The one thing I would also like to mention, and give a huge thanks, is to the intern board who essentially puts on this event.
Mm.
um, we want to thank their leaders, and Shauna and Stacy, and I believe Soshi's getting involved with helping out with that, with IVRT. Sorry, IVRT. I've got so much theater on my brain I can't even put it all together, with the intern board, and they did. I know my family and I talked about it last night. I was really impressed. Like, and I was there all day setting up. But when I walked in again after we set up and the doors were opened, I felt like we weren't in the room that we were in, right? Because we've all seen that room before, and it's a great, wonderful building that's been a part of our history in our community for many years, and specifically with our theater, because that's where the very first show was performed on that stage. So I do love the historical significance that we do use the Chino Community Building. But I thought the intern board designed an amazing event, not just from the decorations, but from the flow as well. And that was one thing that I really appreciated. Was I was on the crew, you guys. I was running the sound, and I felt like I was a ticketed audience member. Like, I was very involved, and I thought the flow was amazing. Colin, what was your thought about just the overall flow of the event?
Oh, I thought it
Last
went
night.
very nicely overall. Yeah, like very seamless, especially as someone who was a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was great.
Hmm.
And I had mentioned that I was running sound, so your
Hmm.
steps to the stage team were very involved last night.
Yes.
And that,
Yes.
as
Yes. Yes.
mentioned, I was very helpful with the audio part. Colin
Hmm.
was actually a presenter,
Yes, I
and he
was.
was also a recipient.
Hmm.
And
It's
our
how
good
it's how you
friend,
how you play the game, man. That's how you.
yeah, you got to get both sides, right?
Exactly. I always come out on top. No. 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 No.
Yep. And our good friend Joey also received some awards last night, and has received many across
Yeah,
his
very
talented career.
qualified audience member.
Yeah, I really liked the fact that, we had three major goals that they were trying to accomplish last night, and that they intertwined them very well, right? It wasn't like, get all the birdies out of the way and move on,
Hmm.
get all the awards out of the way and move on, get all the season reveal out of the way and move on.
Hmm.
Integrated, and it ran pretty seamlessly, I think.
Hmm.
Even with just some short rehearsals ahead of time. So by and large, I really just wanted to say hats off to our intern board and the
Hmm.
leadership team there. You guys just did such a fantastic job. The house looked great. I'd also like to give a shout out to my tech brothers, Doug Rumbaugh and Sean Riley, who are also there and helping out with the lights. We got a new lighting rig as a theater that we used last night, which I think really, really, really changed the overall look and feel of the room. I
Yeah,
love that
yeah,
they
I noticed the wedding tree there. I hadn't seen that before, and
Hmm.
wasn't
I
that cool.
yeah, yeah, look cool.
Exciting.
I really love the fact that Sean went out of his way on each one of the reveals to create a lighting mood or look, like specifically, sorry, I can't say them. Certain ones were certain colors, because we're going to talk about all the reveal
Hmm.
after this for those of you that don't know, but certain reveals were certain colors that really matched the theme of that color. And I watched them do it. They basically, not even basically, they did that all like within hours prior to the event, and I thought it helped out quite a bit, just to, again, just make it really an event. I thought the stage added something too. We've done stuff there before and we've, um, they've done their presentations from the floor essentially, but by creating that little stage, it just gave it that little extra bump, I think, to make it feel like a theater. And I thought they used the actual stage and curtains and side wings with stairs extremely well last night. I think that helped out. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of
Sorry,
like
I
what they used it for, but I remember now. They had they had all the presenters come down there
Hmm.
at some points, use it for little surprise costume changes.
yeah,
Hmm.
surprise costume changes, and yeah, even some of the when they did some of the reveal parts from that actual, they utilized the stage part to
Hmm.
create that look that they needed. So
Hmm.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys had a very favorable and positive experience, because I know you guys have been, been to most of these events, and you've been around our theater for a long time. So I just really enjoyed the buzz. I'll be honest. I enjoyed the buzz overall. And the last
Yeah.
thing I'll say before we go actually and talk about the Bernies themselves, um, and there was an award, so I am gonna kind of reveal a little bit about that, but having been involved now with our theater for, gosh, I think over a decade now, um, I was so very appreciative, and I've been able to see this, because we just talked about it. There's, you guys kind of had your group that you were around a lot through a bunch of production course of, like, 5, 6 years, however that you were involved. We have this kind of new generation, we'll
Hmm.
call it, and they were
A new
very
guard. Yeah.
well represented in the productions that we did this year and last night. They were very well represented, and I loved that. Like, there was a very specific and significant kind of passing of the torch, and I loved that, that was recognized last night. I really do. And our host Colin was part of that, in being recognized as one of the Pass the Torch award recipients. So, and we'll get into the awards a little bit later, but we're going to talk about the Bernie. So we talked about Bernie, we talked about the namesake, we've talked about some of the categories and whatnot. And we're just going to go through each production. We're just going to highlight a few of these individuals that were mentioned. Awards are amazing, guys. I can't say this enough, that and being involved in sports, being involved in music, and being involved in theater, it's so amazing to get recognition. But I want to really go back to the camaraderie of the cast and the ensembles, and how none of these things are possible without everybody that's involved. So those that get recognized were, we'll say, placed in that particular situation to be awarded based upon the support that they received throughout those entire productions. So I just want to definitely let everyone know that everyone that's involved is a part of it and helpful. Um, so our first production that received the Bernies was Alice in Wonderland. And we had some great awards that were handed out. And I'm just going to read through some of the names, if that's cool. We have the list in front of us. And we have our outstanding performance, highlighted by Draco Powers, who's, again, one of the newbies, we'll say, that's come along, and he's done very well. Played the Cheshire Cat, um, and did a fantastic job. Chloe Utterback, Caroline, Kaylee Gonzalez, Giancarlo, Carly Welsh, Riley Smith, David Greenwood, Rebecca Cisneros, and Shelby Mallow, all recognized. You guys were involved, yeah.
Hmm.
And so, give me some of your feedback from internally, as being someone involved in the production. And Joey, you received a Bernie for outstanding technician. Why don't you
Yeah,
give us some feedback on that, Joey?
yeah. So so I had totally forgotten that I did a sound for Alice, because I mostly remember Alice because I was the musical
Uh,
for that show, so I remember that
mhm.
aspect of
Oh yeah,
it, and,
yeah.
not the running the sound part of it. So I was like, a sounding technician. Oh yeah. I'm a So yeah, I was musical director for that show. The director, Donna Rice. Don't know who that is. Never really. I was
That
basically,
Legally
individual.
can't say.
yeah, legally can't say. I'm
Conflict of interest.
basically commissioned to write music for the show. She wanted some Lewis Carroll poems to be turned into music. So I made Jabberwocky and another poem called Mouse's Tale into compositions, and had a group of 3 people to sing it for me, and they did amazingly. Couldn't have asked it to be any
Mhm,
better. And it was a really good experience, because I've only been in choirs before, and I've
mhm,
only been a student under a musical director. So being the musical director for the first time was a very different experience. Uh, because I get it now from like everything that my old choir directors have complained about, or everything that they said they loved about it, I get it now. Yeah.
That's great. And
Yeah.
so we had a couple more awards that were given out, and we'll figure out a way to post these on our socials as well so that we can give
Mhm.
everyone the credit that they deserve on all of this. So I'm not going to necessarily go through all the names for everything, but just highlight a few as we go. But I'd like to definitely highlight again, leading the way, Draco, who's newer to the theater and I think has been a great contributor to things. Spirit of the show, Riley's been around for a long time and been a part of choir at Ayala and with my daughter and with you, Joey. And I can think Colin and Riley might have had a year or two together at Ayala. Was that true?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then our outstanding newcomer, which was Caroline Drown, if I pronounce that correctly, and I do
I
apologize up
think
front
so.
for any names that
But
I
yeah.
mispronounced. But then we had this is something that I really like. Every director comes up with kind of like their own personal award, and
Mhm.
they name it as well. And so our own Colin and our good friend Allison were given the Everything Wonderful award, Bernie Award from Donna, our director.
Mhm.
So, Colin, give us some feedback on your involvement there.
Well, it was just a really sweet experience. I worked with Donna for a very long time in a lot of different ways. I really consider her a bit of a mentor to me and myself. And so being able to work with her sort of on a similar, level and a similar footing was really, I don't know, really interesting and sort of a good full circle moment for me and for her as well, I think, being able to collaborate with her and then being able to work with Ali, we worked so well together. We really had a good understanding going with that show. And so it was really nice to be a part of, and it was really sweet to be recognized in this way by her. And so yeah, I'm just really appreciative. It was fun.
Well, we believe and know that it's well deserved because you guys are both very talented individuals, and I think we're a talented group as well. And I love the fact that here we are a couple of years later, and we're having these great discussions about our wonderful theater and all the people that make the magic happen, and that the fact that we have this opportunity to recognize them. So I appreciate you sharing that, Colin. And
Yeah.
I think it was also probably pretty helpful for you later in the season when you were able to
Yes.
be just another step up in
Hmm.
helping and directing for the 25th annual Putnam Spelling Bee. So, which we'll
Yes.
talk about in a little bit. So,
Hmm.
I love seeing that as someone that's involved in the theater, whose kids are involved in the theater. And now I've been involved obviously for some time, but it's been really great to see so many of you, and especially you guys that I've got a good personal relationship with, to be recognized, but also just love to see the art that you guys are putting out as well. So, congratulations on that. We're going to move on to Finding Nemo.
Wait, before we
Sean.
move on to the next show,
Oh, yeah.
I have bias. I would like to point out my outstanding vocal performance people, Kaylee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Maya Mansour, and Ricky Estrella. I chose them specifically because I knew they could handle what I was writing. Which is very complicated music. It was not easy. It's just
Hmm.
not your average Jingle Bells. Uh, they did it amazingly. So just like to shout them out. Got
Hmm.
my little Jabberwocky Jamboree over there.
Yeah.
Yep. No, thank you for
Yeah.
doing that.
Very complicated, but still very good music, Joey.
Well, and I especially like that
I
you're.
keep any
Go ahead, Colin.
yeah, anytime I get the chance, I'm gonna talk. These songs were really good, man. I don't know.
Mhm.
I like them.
I
Thank
love
you.
also that this platform's allowing us to give audience members the opportunity to kind of hear some of the insights that go into a lot of this.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I do really love all of our directors that come up with these ideas to introduce different types of art forms within our productions, like something that we don't necessarily think about. And for me personally, because my daughter's been involved a lot, just again talking about introducing a different art form, Joey, with your composing and writing and guiding that part of Alice. Um, I also remember the checkerboard painting on on the stage. And I remember one specific night where my daughter Marley and my wife Cheryl and we might have been at the theater into the wee
Mhm.
hours of the morning before the opening night, finishing up that that checkerboard part. But again, just another way to kind of introduce the art form. We've had so many different people that have painted on our sets, and then we have two of our future award that we're going to talk about recipients that do such a great job with projections on there. So that's one thing that I don't think maybe we talk about enough, is how within theater you have the opportunity to introduce and share so many other art forms that we get to experience. So with that, we're going to move along to Finding Nemo. But thank you so much for that, Joey. That's great insight, and I do appreciate that. And I really think our audience members do as well. So Finding Nemo, Shauna was involved, and again, we had our outstanding performers. We have Chloe, Addison, Vivian, Isaac, Tori, Leo. We had Spirit of the Ensemble, outstanding vocal performance, outstanding dance performance, outstanding technicians. I'll go ahead and do the leading the way, Chloe Utterback. Spirit of the show, Addison Estrella, and outstanding newcomer, Victoria Cerna. And then again, going back to the director's choice, the title of this award is Fish All Friends. And Sophie Ariata was the winner there. I think that's an amazing title for the award. So and some great people. Again, we see names like Allison Riley again involved as a technician. We see Rebecca Cisneros, who's involved in the intern board, involved in acting, involved in tech, and so many of the people that are part of our theater. I think I love the fact that they don't just stay in one lane, if that makes sense. They try different things and expand. And I think, I guess I'll jump to both of you guys, because I know you've both been involved in a variety of different things. I mean, that's got to help to make you such a well-rounded person for the theater. Yeah. Colin, thoughts?
I mean, that's kind of a testament to what CCCT kind of can provide, because I wouldn't have been able to get be able to dip my toes into the tech, into the directing, into all the other aspects of theater other than what's just on the stage, if there hadn't been the people and the programs that we have in place.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've done so many classes, so many dance classes, tech classes. It's so amazing that the theater offers those type of things. Like, not a lot of theaters will offer classes we do. They just put up shows, which is still great. It's amazing, but the extra mile that CCCT goes, it really allows people to dip their toes in the other aspects of theaters that they wouldn't usually be interested in.
Yeah. Specifically on this production, Finding Nemo, I'd like to recognize and point out the Rumbaugh as a family. Obviously, Doug and I have been close. We met when we were in Mamma Mia together. We were two of the three dads. And that was back in 2019, and that started a pretty solid relationship with an amazing family that are all involved in our theater. So, Shauna obviously was the director on this. She's produced so many different events, co-directed. Doug has been involved in almost every single production that has gone on in our theater since, they started. All three of their children have been involved as both actors and as techs. And as they get older, they're getting involved and getting more responsibilities. So I just want to highlight that family specifically, especially as we talk about one of the productions that they were involved in. Newsies was another one that was really fantastic. Side note, we definitely are going to be putting together some new episodes about some old shows that took place, and Newsies is going to be one of them. I had the pleasure of being Teddy Roosevelt one night.
Oh yeah,
A variety. Bill Rice was involved in that one night. Doug was involved. Paul was involved. Vince was. We had a lot of theater dads that were involved in that. But again, I just like to highlight the Rumbaugh family and all that they've done for our theater. And I know they're involved in a couple other theaters around town, which just shows I don't even know how they have the time to do stuff with all that they do at our theater. So So anyway, congrats to them and fantastic work. And we're just going to jump right into Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I have a personal connection here in that this was Marley and Marley's directorial debut, and she co-directed with Allison on this event, and obviously our whole family was involved, and I helped in some of the technical aspects of it. Cheryl was a producer. Obviously, Abby was one of the actors. So it was a great experience, something we grew up with in our household. So it was nice to see Percy Jackson come to stage. Remembering many nights of sitting on the couch and watching various Percy Jackson Lightning Thief shows that came on, and obviously the books are in our house and have been a big part of our lives. So it was great to see that happen. And I'm just going to read off our outstanding performance: Luke, Shaman, Sebastian. We had Abby, we had Luke, Hooganraad, we had David Batista, and Nicholas Flores. Spirit of the Ensemble awards were given out to 5 amazing actors. Outstanding vocal performance given out to 7 amazing actors. Outstanding dance performance out to 4 amazing actors. Outstanding technicians, we had 8 involved, and that just shows you the set and everything that was happening at that particular production. Um, Big crew, and I love that they are recognized. I also loved in seeing this. I'll do a little side note. There's a group of technicians from Ayala High School that came out, I think about a year or so ago. And we were doing a production, Clue, I believe, at Ayala High School. And there was a group of 8 to 10 people that really wanted to get involved in tech. And so they got involved then. And since then, they've done multiple productions at the theater at Ayala High School, but they've also become very involved in our theater, 7th Street Theater, which I love. And I've actually involved them because in my professional life, I do event technology, and they've actually been involved in a local event that I did as well. So it's another part of the arts. And I love that during the Bernies that the tech teams are recognized as well. And I just wanted to give a special shout out to the Ayala Tech crew that I've had the pleasure of being involved with. And I just love their growth, their work, and I love that they're involved not only at the high school that our family's close to, but also to the 7th Street Theater and all the things that they've done there. And a few of them being recognized was great during last night's event. So
Yeah, that's such
like,
an interesting thing to watch happen at Ayala, because I think I think this little tech team has only been a thing for like 2 years or something. It's
yeah, under 2 years. Yeah.
yeah, it's fairly new. I remember back in the day, we would only have like have like a consistent 1 or 2 people that ran lights and sound for every Ayala production every single time. uh and it was always just like that, always like that one guy. And when those people would leave, we'd have like this vacant empty space. You're like, oh
Yep.
man, who's gonna run sound now, who's gonna run lights now? But now it's not something they have to worry about anymore.
Yeah, they essentially have to, draw straws, as it were, for who's going to be able to run something because there's so many.
Trust.
But I also love the fact that I love the fact that they are helping out in other areas. So they're, doing stage management, they're doing backstage stuff. So they're not just doing the very specific technical, but they are also doing other elements within the theater. So yeah, no, I'm glad that you said that, Joey. And we talked about it, and we'll talk about it in the passing of the torch that we had mentioned earlier. So again, I just wanted to give a little shout out to them. So great job to Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, Marley and Allison, and the entire cast and crew. What an amazing event and production for our family specifically. And we really hope that those that, as with all our productions that we're able to attend, were able to enjoy. All right, we're going to jump into the next production that was on the list, which is the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And we had Caleb, who was directing, and our own host, Colin, who was helping out with this particular production. And Colin was actually our presenter last night because Caleb had prior commitment, so I was unable to make it. But Colin, why don't you talk to us a little bit about that production and the Bernies that were handed out?
I mean, we talked about earlier, I sort of dipped my toes in with Alice in Wonderland earlier in the year, and so being able to further expand upon sort of my experiences and what I had already learned and be able to apply that to spelling bee was really, really rewarding. And so being able to recognize those fantastic people that I worked with was really nice. I was glad that I'm happy that I was able to be the one to sort of be there for them. It was nice. It was nice. It's a nice little thing.
Yeah, it really was. And not only did we have Colin involved on the director side, but we had our own Joey, who was in the cast, and he actually received a Bernie as part of the outstanding performance crew, which included Elise, David, Joey, Rebecca, Nate, Riley, Kelsey, and Sydney. I've seen multiple different productions of 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, specifically the one that was at Ayala High School a few years back. That included some of the people that were in this particular production. So I did love to see that continuation of some of those roles. I also really enjoyed seeing Nate, who I believe came from Jesse Larson or Jesse Piles.
Probably.
Excuse me so much, Aaron. I do apologize for that. Jesse Piles program. Is that correct, guys? Was Nate from
Yeah, he
Ontario?
came from Ontario High. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a number of them that were involved in not only Putnam, but also in several of the other Lightning Thief and some of the others. And so that's another. I mean, talking about our community, Paul and Karen Larson, the OGs, we can say directly. But Jesse, who's one of the Larson's kids and very involved in theater, runs the theater program at Ontario High School. And we also have a very vibrant program going on in Chino. We talked earlier about having some discussions with some of those teachers. Chino Hills has a very active program as well. So here in the immediate Inland Empire, we've got a lot of schools that are doing a great job in keeping the arts going, and great supporters groups and booster groups as well that help out with that. So moving forward with 25th annual, we have we had 3 actors for the Spirit of the Ensemble. We had 5 for the outstanding vocal performance. We had 5 for outstanding dance performance. 4 for outstanding technician. Again, we'll have all these listed within our socials, and I know they'll be on the CCC. Did I get that right? 3 C's T socials as well. But I would definitely want to talk about the leading the way. Sydney Reyes, who's been a part of our program for so long, is attending college up in Northern California at Berkeley. And she just did fantastic in this particular production. And it was great that she was able to, during the summer, find time from attending college to be a part of one of our productions, and glad to see her recognized in that way. Spirit of the show, Nate Lopez, again, man, he just I don't even know. I enjoyed his performance so much. I know you guys also well, and I've seen you in various productions, and Nate, I've only seen in a few, but man, what a performance he put on. He just really went to
Yeah, he really.
different. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, he brought it out with this one.
It was such a pleasure to watch. It really was a pleasure to watch. And it was really great to see him there last night, and for him to receive that recognition, well deserved. We have outstanding newcomer in Mateo Cole, and then we have our Putnam County Queen Bee Award, and that goes to Elise. And if I'm not mistaken, is Elise the one that is from back east, and she was
Yes.
also in Lightning Thief as
Yes,
well? I think
yes. She's
mom.
from. Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
I want to
and it's
say, yeah.
Whaley. Is it
Yeah,
Whaley,
Whaley?
yes. Whaley.
Yeah. Wow, what a
Mm-hmm.
voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, what a voice in both productions.
Fantastic.
Um, and just
Fantastic.
had such a presence in both, and so glad that she joined our stage for a couple of productions this
Mm-hmm.
summer, and
Oh, lucky.
hope she's doing great back east and in all of her endeavors, and hopefully we'll get to see her in the future, maybe on some professional stages. I would not be
Ooh.
surprised by
Mm-hmm.
that at all. What a phenomenal talent. So we have our last production that received some Bernies, and that was Puffs, our most recent production, which is a part of, I don't know if we can say the name, but a part of
Mm-hmm.
that wizarding.
Yes. A certain specific, non-denominational, open to all.
They use wands and
Yes.
they go to a
School of
school, and
supernatural
right,
stuff
right.
doing. Yes.
So Puffs was our most recent production, and our president Debbie
Mm-hmm.
was actually the director on this, and we had Caden, Maya, and Joshua who received outstanding performance Bernies. We had
Mm-hmm. They're fantastic.
we had 5 on the Spirit of the Ensemble. We had 4 as technician leading the way. We had Rebecca Cisneros. None of us should be surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
What an amazing gift to our theater and all that she does with intern board, with superstars, with helping out both on stage and off stage. Just a powerhouse. Really enjoy the energy that she brings to everything. And then we had Spirit of the Show. I want to spend a little moment talking about Carly, who
Mm-hmm.
Welsh, who was also in Lightning Thief and
Mm-hmm.
several other productions that
And
we've had,
Alice.
and Alice, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And again, energy is something that comes to mind when we think of Carly, and
Mm-hmm.
the various roles that she had amongst the productions we just talked about. Just really, I think, highlighted her capabilities as an actor, and you knew when she was on stage, and you felt it in all of the roles that she had, and that was again great to see her get recognized. Along with everyone, and we so apologize that we're not going through everyone's name. We are trying to keep this within a reasonable time frame, but we'll get those names out there. But I did want to spend a moment talking about Carly, because after the outstanding newcomer, Dylan Johnston, received his award, Carly was asked back up because she won the director's award, which is I'd Eat a Shoe.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we talked earlier about these amazing names of
Mm-hmm.
the awards that the directors put out. That's just kind of their, MVP, I guess, is the
Mm-hmm.
best way to just,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't have to be anything in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were it just, that director found it really important to recognize them above and beyond. So I do love that, and I do love that the directors have that opportunity, but I think Carly, that was a well-deserved award for her on Puffs. So all right, guys, well, we are moving right along. Let's jump into the awards, and these are essentially community awards that are given out to patrons and other people that are involved within our theater, and it's just our opportunity to thank them for all that they do to support us, support the arts. And I think it's another great thing that our theater does every year is outside of putting on just fantastic productions in both the children's and adult theater. I think they do a great job of working with the community, and specifically the city of Chino, and also with the various patrons that have been involved with the theater for so many years. So I'm going to talk about the first one because these are 2 personal friends of mine. I have been fortunate enough within the last couple of years to be a part of this group of theater dads. And we call ourselves the Breakfast Bunch. And we meet most Saturdays. And outside of kind of the typical kind of solving the world's problems, we spend a lot of time talking about theater and our different experiences, because everyone that's in that group is been on stage, been backstage, and has been in the audience a ton of times for a variety of different things. And it's just so great to spend time with these individuals that have such a love for the theater. And I was very, very, very moved last night in that two of those individuals, Mr. Caden Fox and Mr. Ron Ming, were awarded for our CCCT Foundations Award for 2023. Presented by Bill and Doug, two other people that are a part of that group. And the foreword was written by Mr. Paul Larson, who's part of that group and founder of the theater, one of the founders, and is actually up north getting ready for another grandchild to come. So was unable to join us last night. But wow, surprised that Larsons are out there supporting their family. Who would have thought? Those amazing people could be any more amazing, but they were missed last night. But I was so happy to see Caden and Ron, who have actually been involved in the actual movie industry and television industry for
Yeah, I
years
was
and years and years. Go ahead,
sp-
Joey.
specifically about Caden. I remember when I first met Caden. We had an old storage unit called the Firehouse. That's where we kept all our wood supplies for sets or all our set pieces. I was like 9 or something when my dad dragged me along to the Firehouse, and when I first met Caden, I remember what stuck out to me most about him. He mentioned how he was on the set for the live action Cat in the Hat movie, and he actually designed some of the houses for that. And I thought that was so
Oh,
crazy because
yeah.
what a movie that was. So
Yes. Yeah, in fact, I think they filmed part of it up in the Upland Pomona area as well.
Oh,
They recreated some of the older cities into
yeah.
part of the sets there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, isn't that great? And you know, when I had a chance afterwards to speak with Allison, um, who uh, who we're very close with and worked with Marley on Lightning Thief and works with on the camps and you know, when we were talking last night, like she got emotional and she has such fond memories of both of those individuals and Caden in particular. And again, I just like again, I'm so thankful that I get to chance to spend some time with them almost on a weekly basis whenever we're available. But to know that they come from the actual, you know, what most of the actors on our stage aspire to go to, they're from there. They come back and they give us their experience and their insights, and just such an amazing again part of our and they've I mean your Bill or your dad said it last night, Joey, like I didn't know how to do anything until these guys came along. And now look at Bill, like he's basically lead carpenter on a majority of the productions that go on. And so he got to learn from some true professionals. So it was great to see them recognized. I also want to give a shout out to Ron's wife, Debbie, who was in attendance last night and has been someone that's been a part of my theater journey from the beginning, in that her son Jeff was a director of mine for Christmas Carol, and then was also involved with her daughter Lori, who helped out on that production as well. And they've been involved. Jeff was just in Adam's Family with Allison and Abby at the Lewis Family Playhouse, and she was there last night. And so she's just such a great supporter of our theater. So it was great to see Ron recognized, and she was there in support. And I also got to meet Caden's lovely wife last night for the first time, so that was fantastic. So we're going to move on into our 2023 CCCT Patron Award that your mom Donna presented last night, Joey, and Holly Hall and Mark Parker were recognized. And these two individuals live down in the northern San Diego area, Fallbrook, I believe, and have been patrons, season ticket holders. They drive up for almost every production, and they provide their time. They provide financial support, and just two energetic, lovely individuals that we had the chance to recognize, and it was so great to have them come up, receive their awards, and also to talk a little bit about how I think when she came out, Holly first got on the mic and she's like, look at all these talented actors and what they've done and being recognized for. That's the reason why we come up, is to keep supporting these amazing kids. So very moving for me last night. And it's just such a great example. Everyone is in a different station in life throughout their lives. Sometimes you have more means than others do at certain times. And they're a great example of having the means to be able to support something like our theater and the arts. And we just can't thank them enough, and appreciate all of you who do that, but specifically those that we have the opportunity to provide this specific and significant recognition to. So thank you so much to Holly and Mark for your support. And we're going to jump into one of the awards that I had mentioned earlier, we've talked about earlier, and that was the Carrying the Torch Award that our president, Debbie, presented. And a lot of the names that we've already mentioned. So I'm actually going to read these names because I think it's really important. We have Allison Sano, who we've mentioned several times today. Allison Riley, who we've mentioned. Andrea Salas, who's going to be directing for the first time and has been involved in our theater for many years. And great to see her recognized. Andrew Landeros, Caleb Robertson, who we've talked about. Some guy named Colin. Pinedo, I think is how you say his last name.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah. Katie Grell, Madison Miller, Marlene Lane, Michaela Estrella, Sarah Hooganraad, Sarah Wilson, and Sydney Reyes. And this was the Carrying the Torch. Again, these are everyone that was mentioned there has been involved in our theater for a long time. They've been, again, on stage, backstage. They, have supported, but really being recognized for coming back, as we've discussed, after being involved in so many productions as an actor, and now they're back and they're directing, co-directing, musical directing, choreography, all of those things that are involved, and involved in camps, involved in putting on their own productions. So I thought that was an amazing moment last night. It was great to see that. It was great to see the recognition. It is even greater when it's a good friend, but more importantly, a good person. And I'm talking about you, Colin. And obviously, I have a lot of love for everyone else on this list, including my daughter Marley, and others that I consider sons and daughters and kids, as it were. But Colin, it was great to see that recognition last night. It's well deserved. You're a top-notch dude in my book, and top-notch person in general. And I've enjoyed being around you and your family. You've got an amazing family as well. And Joey, I'll say the same for you, because you're going to be up on that stage soon. But there's some pretty fantastic people within our community. So we can't thank them enough, and we can't recognize them enough. But I'm certainly glad that we took the time to recognize you guys last night. So great work. Fantastic job.
Can I take a moment to talk about one person on this list and to highlight how small the world really is?
Absolutely.
So I'm in Mount Sac Chamber Singers. Our choir director's name is Bruce Rogers. He's retiring this year. But one person in Chamber Singers, funnily enough, her name is also Joey. But um, uh, but but someone on this carrying on the torch list, their name's Katie Grell. So Joey, I never met Joey in my life before. Come to find out that Joey's actually best friends with Katie Grell, which is crazy. Shows that you can never truly escape CCCT. But yeah, it showed me how small the world is. Like people know other people that you'll know eventually. I'm probably gonna meet someone else that knows someone from the theater. Like like the world is much smaller than you actually think it is.
It is, Joey, and that's a very astute observation. And the great thing about that observation and the statement of "it's a small world" is the truth behind that, and how we get to experience it in so many different ways. And it helps you, hopefully helps, anyone listening to this, the opportunity to just realize life is short, life is precious. It is a small world. It may seem vast, it may seem overwhelming, but there's people out there that are doing good, that love and care for you. So if you don't feel like that way, reach out and you'll find some people that will help you out. But I appreciate you sharing that, Joey, because it is important to note that it is a small world, and you never know. You never know every day as you walk out. You never know what's happening. You never know what happened that morning to someone that maybe put them in not a great mood. So we just have to give people grace and give people that empathy and focus. And all these people that we just named do that on a daily basis, and we're so thankful for that. So I'm going to move forward because we're actually coming up on an hour, and we were going to try and keep it to a half an hour, but that just really shows how great this event was last night, that we could talk about it at this length. So behind the scenes award, and I think this is also, we mentioned them earlier, very, 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 very deserving to Paige and Adrian, right? It's kind of like hard not to say one without the other when it's related to our theater and the amazing things that they've done behind the scenes. Some of the projections that they've put on, I kid you not, for, a little, small 90-seat theater that we operate in. And the small stage, I think Doug said it last night when he was kind of talking about just techs in general. It's so amazing the magic that comes from that stage. And Paige and Adrian have just really taken the technological level of our productions to a whole different level with what they've been able to accomplish. Primarily with projections. It's not just projections. They do a lot, but
With the
I
stage,
think projections is very much what they're known for, and did such a fantastic job on all the productions they've been involved in. And right now I am so happy because behind Colin, his little buddy just got up and did a stretch like no tomorrow to go, are you guys done talking yet? Because I need some attention. I need some love. And for those of you that aren't watching that, our host Colin has this a beautiful doggy that just woke up from a long nap and introduced himself to us. So, okay, cool. Sorry about that little distraction. I'm going to move to the last award, and that was for the In the CCCT Spotlight. This was presented by Doug last night, and it was given to a very deserving individual, Ireland Fleming. And speaking of techs that, as you had mentioned, Joey, it's usually just one or two people that end up doing it. She's one of those that came on the scene and fell in love with it, and in such a positive way has been involved in so many of our productions on the tech side. And just keeps learning and growing and gaining confidence and getting close with all of her cast and crew mates and all that she's been involved in. And it was great to see that recognition as well. Absolutely great to see that recognition.
Yeah, Ireland. I remember the first day I met Ireland. It was a Peter and the Starcatcher. I had two techs under me because I was sound designer, and Ireland was one of the sound runners. And the very first day, I knew that Ireland was gonna make something big in a CCT, and I was right. Ireland is one of the most determined techs I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Craziest thing is that Ireland's like only 13 or 14. Like when I
You're
first met
kidding.
Ireland, I thought
like a
she was like
kid,
16.
right?
She is so mature for her age, and
That's
it
great.
and it uh and it really shows. I've seen Ireland. Develop skills in sound design. She's just so amazing up there. And I'm really glad that we have Ireland on the team.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, being younger. It just, my respect for her was already immense, and it grows when you hear something like that, because I've seen her involved in stressful situations that most adults can't handle, and taking like lots of heat from the room in that. And this happens, if you guys know if you've been a technician, like when things aren't necessarily going well, the pressure starts mounting, and she doesn't lose her cool. Just solves it, gets the help that's needed when it's needed, or just makes it happen. So congratulations, Ireland. Congratulations to all of our special award winners. And thank you guys for sharing some of your thoughts on these. So we are like right at the hour mark, but we haven't done our season reveal yet. So we're gonna kind of speed this last part up, because most of the people are gonna know what these are. But let's see, drum roll. Our season for CCCT for next season shall include, first, a very green ogre by the name of Shrek.
Yeah.
Will be one of the productions that happen next year. Miss Soshi and Miss Elizabeth will be directing that. I know I'm involved on the technical end. So yes, someone is very excited about Shrek being involved
in the crowd here.
in
Hold on.
our and I love the story about Bill talking about the last time our theater did Shrek. That was kind of his introduction to Caden and the construction side. So it kind of holds a special place in all of our hearts. So the next, this is actually a play. And I'm very excited about it, in that Marley, my daughter, will be the director, and this will be her first time as a solo director. And this particular production is called Wolves. And I am really excited about this because I'm not familiar with it, and I'm excited to get to know it. That's one thing being I don't want to say I was a non-theater guy, but I was definitely not as involved in theater as I am now growing up. I'm experiencing a lot of the classics as an adult, right? Like various productions that have come up, Our Town, things like that, that are kind of like classics in the theater world. I get to experience for kind of the first time as an adult. So this is one of those that I'm not familiar with and I'm excited about. And I know we just like quite literally got the rights like maybe yesterday. And so we didn't really have time to do a bigger reveal on that than some of the others. So that explains for those of you that may have wondered why it was just an announcement last night and we didn't really do anything on it. We had some legal things that were there. So anyway, moving forward to our next production, which I am pretty excited for. Again, something that is kind of classic within the theater world, that I don't have a lot of experience with, so I'm excited about getting to know it, and that is Tuck Everlasting. And this is going to be a fantastic production. Shauna Rumball is involved. Oh my gosh, guys, how did Viv do last night?
Oh,
During
incredible.
the
She was
reveal?
amazing. Yeah.
Was that not fantastic? It's, just I got goosebumps, man. Totally got goosebumps. I was so proud of her. Vivian, part of the Rumbaugh family that we spoke about earlier, isn't necessarily the one that gets on the stage as much as her sisters, and was so proud to see her get out and last night and just do such a fantastic job. So Tuck Everlasting is our next production that we're excited to be presenting. After that, something I am very familiar with and have fond memories of watching. And oh, what a great performance last night that some of our intern board put on. But I am also very excited again because this is Andrea's directorial debut at our theater. And she is going to have the great pleasure of presenting to us Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So what a fun song last night that they sang and performed. So that's going to be a great production on our stage, and we're very excited for it. And our final production that was revealed last night. And again, I'm very excited. Marley and Allison will be involved in this, co-directing again. And something that I just have no idea how they're going to present this, but I know that it's been on Broadway already, but they're going to be presenting Carrie. So for those of you in my age range that grew up and watched the show, Carrie, you're scratching your head right now going, how can this be a musical or a play?
It's fun.
Is it fun? Have you
It's
seen?
fun. I've seen clips. I've seen bits and pieces
Yeah.
across the
Well, I really
way.
enjoyed what they did last night
Yeah,
during the reveal, and I thought that was
it can be
fan.
real fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, it can be real
it
interesting.
was. So this should be pretty exciting. So,
Mhm.
so you know what, everyone, we've taken up so much time, and
Mhm.
we so hope you enjoyed our recap, going over our Bernie Awards last night. We again are so thankful to everyone that's involved in our amazing theater community, not just for the Chino 7th Street Theater, but to all the local theaters in our schools, and the other local regional theaters that we try and support. And we know many of our patrons and actors support all of the various Inland Empire theater companies throughout our amazing little area out here in the IE. And we're so thankful to everyone that's involved directly in our theater, and that congratulations to all those that were recognized last night. Congratulations to all those that were there that weren't recognized, but were a huge part of those that were recognized getting that getting those awards. So your days will come, your awards will come. Keep it up. You've got amazing people around you on both on stage and backstage. Joey and Colin, thank you for your time in doing this on
Mhm.
short notice.
Mhm.
We came up with this idea kind of last minute, and we are hoping that it is received well, and that we can expand it into future events, maybe even in a live scenario. So thank you so much, y'all. Appreciate you. Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Joey. Thanks to
Thank
all of
you.
our listeners as Steps to the Stage. Thank you so much to CCCT, its board, its members. Thank you also to the 7th Street Theater and CCT and all of their help and involvement. Thanks to our wonderful community, and specifically, thanks to you.
Thanks for listening to Steps to the Stage, and now it's time for the curtain call.